Okay, so as promised, tonight or this morning, we're going to talk about soulmates. Yay! Okay, great. But of course, as it will always turn out, some of it's going to be a little different and a little bit shocking. But the first thing I want to share with you is, what about the people already in relationship? Yes, exactly. Okay. So let's start with one simple idea that we constantly reminding ourselves as we do with our affirmation. The Creator already gave us everything. So our soulmate is already here, already exists, and is already around. It's up to us, as we're going to discuss a little more today, it's up to us to bring them into our lives. But it doesn't mean that the person you're with is not your soulmate. And I want to introduce it in a little bit different way, because it's kind of funny, when I first started teaching in LA, and we all know what LA is like, right? Yes, that's why we're living in Florida. No, just kidding. No, I love LA. But, it's funny, you talk to any of the teachers that have taught in LA, especially years back, and people would come to us and say, Chaim, Kabbalah is really great. I found my soulmate. Okay, good for you. Very nice. 3-4 weeks later, you're meeting them again. Chaim, they weren't my soulmate, right? Something there, but you know what? I really found my soulmate this time. Okay, good. 3-4 weeks later. Oh, no. They weren't my soulmate. You have no idea what they were like. You have no idea what they put me through. But now I found my true soulmate. And this would go on and on and on and on. Because people don't understand what it means. And so I want to just relate back to that idea. If the Creator gave us everything, then the idea of a soulmate doesn't only mean in relationship. Yes, that's more what we're going to focus on today. But if you think about it, what it really means is a match of your soul. Isn't that what we're looking for? Someone to match our soul that we can have a great relationship with, we can live happily ever after, and everything will be great and wonderful. Exactly. The trouble is that most of us, as the people in LA, they thought it was just something, that just showed up. But we want to understand that it takes hard work and a lot of effort to achieve our soulmate or our soul match. Because as we're talking about it, I want you to also be able to relate to the idea. You also have a soul-mated job, you have a soul-mated friends, you have soulmates in everything. Because what is it really coming down to? You want the match of your soul. So as you're allowing your soul to express more and more, so too you're going to attract accordingly. So we are looking for, and that's the purpose of what we're doing here in the center, we understand that there are soul matches on every single level that you and I exist on. So if you look back on yourself, let's say 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, do you see any difference in yourself? Yes or yes? Okay, thank you. Good. You see a difference. So imagine, back then the old you, everyone and everything that you encountered and everything that you experienced was a match of your expression of your soul at that moment. So when you look back and you say, well, it was okay, but I had some challenges here, or this wasn't the best, or this needed to change, or what have you. But at that moment, that was the match of your soul. Because that's what you were expressing, so that's what the universe matched back. So we're here to raise the level of our soul's expression so we can draw the match on a higher level. But as we all know, especially those who are taking the classes here in the center, that idea of transformation is not an easy thing. In order to express a higher level of our soul, as we affirm, which is why we do it, you and I have to behave with a higher level of love and kindness and compassion and charity and generosity and forgiveness and tolerance and compassion. That's up to us to manifest a higher level of our soul so the universe can bring us a higher level of existence, a higher level of light and blessings in our life. Because that's what we're looking for. But it's up to us. On the one hand, in the first moment, sometimes that's a little discouraging. But afterwards, you think about it, it gives you tremendous power. If everything is based on your expression of your light, of your soul's light, then who in this world can stop you from achieving your highest level? Nobody. There's not a human being on earth who can stop you when you're determined to manifest all of your soul's light and manifest or receive all of your soul's blessings. Because as we've said, the Creator already set it out for us. It's already in existence. It's just up to us to bring it into our lives by expressing more of our soul's light. So as far as relationships go, and those of you who are in relationships, we can bring that relationship to a higher level of our soul, unless you believe that you're already at 100%. Any of you believe you're 100% yet? All the quiet ones going, well, I'm going to wait and see if anyone else is raising their hand, then maybe I will. But okay, we all have more to go. Doesn't mean we don't like where we are. In fact, that's one of the blessings that I found when I started learning here in the Kabbalah Center years ago, was I came to have a greater sense of appreciation for what I already have. And at the same time want more. Not because I was greedy, but because I came to understand the Creator already set out 100%. And the Creator wants us to have the 100%. And therefore, it would be a slight, if you will, to the Creator if I didn't seek and work to live into that 100%. So how are we going to do that? How are we going to find the match or raise our level of expression or find that soulmate? So the easiest thing to do is look at the people who've already done it. So whether you believe it or not, you understand what the Bible truly is beyond its physical stories. All the matriarchs and patriarchs were soulmates. So you have Abraham and Sarah, you have Isaac and Rebekah, you have Jacob and Rachel and Leah. They were all soulmated matches, couples. So we have a few things we have to learn from them. Because like all those books that are out there now in the self-help sections, isn't it funny? Can I tell you that quick joke? You know the joke about the self-help section? So this person walks into one of the bookstores, right? Big bookstore. You envision which one it is, and goes up to one of the workers and says, could you please direct me to the self-help section? And the worker stops for a second and said, if I did, wouldn't that be self-defeating? So you go... Yes. Okay, I get it. So you go into these bookstores, and if you want to be successful in business, they have books. The behaviors or attitudes or lessons of those who are successful. So we understand the idea of following the pattern of those who've already achieved what we want to achieve, whether it's business, relationship, health, something. You look at somebody who's successful in that area, and you want to follow the steps and the patterns that they follow to achieve what they've achieved. So when we look at the matriarchs and patriarchs, we want to follow also what they've done to achieve their level and their blessings in life. So the first thing is to understand the most important part. Any relationship, yes, we're talking about one-on-one, whatever, romantic, personal relationship, but it also goes with friends, with your job, with the rest of it. The number one priority has to be the revelation of the light of your soul. Not for love and compassion, or not just to get something from people or have companionship, not to just have a nice job or good friends, but to reveal the light of your soul in a level that you cannot do by yourself. That's why the universe created us separate. If you go back to the idea of Adam and Eve, and we talked about it once, and those of you who are new, you can just listen and then you can ask questions later afterwards. But Adam, when he first came into the world, was one being that was both male and female. And then it was split into a male Adam and a female Eve. The purpose being that we have to earn our blessings by finding our match, by working to draw the match to us. So there has to be a way we relate with people from a soul's expression in order to have all the blessings of our soul. So the first and primary purpose is that you want to be able to reveal more light than you can by yourself. Like anything else. You ever tried to move your house? Anyone moved one place to another? Do you do it by yourself? No. Why not? One, even if you tried, there's certain things you could do by yourself, but there's a lot you couldn't. So in order to move your household from one place to another, what do? You call on other people. And our life goes right down the line that way. Could you have a car if there weren't other people making the car for you or selling you the car? No. So there's nothing we can really do by ourselves. So then the same way, to reveal all the light of our soul, we also can't do that by ourselves. We need other people. We need other people to show us where we're doing the right thing and support us in doing more of the right things. And we also need, which is not so easy for us, those people who will, whether they realize it or not, but from our point of view, point out what we're not doing right, so that we can repair it, so we can fix it, and we can behave more light-like to attract more light blessings. So that's the first thing. If you go back to these three couples that we're talking about, Abraham and Sarah, if you read in the Bible, it said they went around the world bringing people to the light of the Creator, to the awareness of the light of the Creator. And it literally says, if you read it carefully, it says they made souls, like they made people. So those who are into the very mystical part of whatever, spiritual teachings, or even what they think Kabbalah is about, they'll say, wow, you mean they were able to make human beings? Doesn't mean that. Like, poof, here's a new Adam and Eve. No, it means they made souls, meaning they brought people to the spiritual understanding of what they've got inside them, the truth of their being. Then you have Isaac and Rebekah. The purpose of their coming together was to help barren couples to have children, because it also represents the continuity of light. So whether you have children or not, or will have children or not, there's the continuity of your soul's light. And that's what they were about. And then you have Jacob and Rachel and Leah. So you're saying, wait a second, that wasn't a couple. Yeah, oops. So here's the deal with that, just on a quick note. The saying goes, behind every successful man there is a powerful woman. So Jacob was a very prime example of that. Even though he was on a very high spiritual level as Jacob, his soul-mated match was Rachel. When he elevated with her support to the level called Israel, which was his other name, then on that level, his soul-mated match was Leah. So he's also teaching us, or they are teaching us, that whether you're in a relationship or you're seeking a relationship, as you grow spiritually, you will also merit to find your soul match on that new level. So whether it's the same person that you're now in a relationship with, and you've both transcended into a new level, or it's those of you who are seeking to find your soul match, you need to move into a higher level than you are now. Because obviously if you haven't found him or her yet, it means you're not on the level to draw them into your life. Is everyone clear on that? So then it goes back to that priority. First, to realize your priority is not just, I want somebody in a relationship I can go to the movies with, I can have fun with, that I won't feel lonely at night, etc. How can I reveal all the light of my soul by drawing this person or working together with this person, to be in a relationship with that person? That the two of us are like 1 and 1 is 8. That the two of us together can reveal light of our soul on a level beyond our individual capabilities. That's the power. That's why we do this every Sunday, and the centers are communities, spiritual communities. Because any one of us, no matter who we are, even if you go back to the great Kabbalists, on their own, they are unable to transform the entire world. Each and every one of them needed other people. And in today's world, we need masses of people to be united in spirituality, in this teaching called Kabbalah, to transform the entire planet. Okay. So the first thing is, we said, that there has to be the spiritual purpose. There has to be that consciousness to bring light to the world. Doesn't mean you can't also have fun and enjoy your relationship, or enjoy your job or your friends or what have you. The opposite. The more you're channeling the light through your relationships, the more joy and the more happiness you will have, the more sense of peace and fulfillment, because it all comes from the light of the Creator. That's why we keep reminding ourselves that it's already been given. It's already here. It's just up to us to uncover it and reveal it. We had a couple in the center years ago. Starts like this. There was a woman who came to the center and she was in a relationship. And she thought that this was it. He was the one. There was another gentleman in the center that she didn't particularly find attractive. Not just physically, but in other ways also. In fact, at one point they had a little bit of a conflict. This gentleman that she was with in a relationship came home one day and just abruptly dumped her. Easy or not? Not so. But because she's in the center, actually she was one of the teachers, she started to put Kabbalah to use. All right? If this happened, then it's got to be a sign from the universe that that's not the right person. Well, guess what happened? She went to sleep one night shortly thereafter, and she had a dream about going out with this other guy that she didn't get along well with. Imagine her surprise when she woke up in the morning. Something wrong with that dream, right? She had nothing in common with this gentleman. She didn't like him at all, etc. Well, coincidentally, guess what? He dreamed on the same night. Yeah, exactly. He dreamed about her. She dreamed about him. Of course, they were not about to tell each other. But she told her friends, he told his friends, and the friends told each other. And then they ganged up on the two of them and basically pushed them to go out, and almost like magic. The moment they actually went out together, it's like their eyes opened up, those curtains disappeared, and for 20 some odd years now, they are happily married. Yes. I'm not telling you who they are, but they're happily married. But it just goes to show that we have to grow spiritually in order to merit our soul match. It's not going to be an easy thing. Sometimes like that. Sometimes you have to be dumped. But you have to realize if that's happening, whether it's you leave them or they leave you, it's got to be the universe's message that you're not on your level yet. Doesn't mean you couldn't have had a great relationship. Maybe it was good. But somehow the universe is pointing out this isn't your highest match. There's someone else or something else out there waiting for you. But it means then being able to deal, as we call it in the center, proactively, to deal with it with spiritual consciousness, to handle whatever the situation may have been. So in her case, when he just abruptly came home and said, that's it. First, yes, it was quite a shock. You know, it's not about not ever feeling hurt, angry, upset, guilty, shame, whatever. Feelings are feelings. They are signs of what's going on inside of us. The key is what we do, how we behave after we've felt those things. So in her case, even though she felt rejected and she felt angry and hurt, she was able not to behave that way. And I would say because she was able not to behave that way, gave her and him, the other one that she eventually married, the merit to have those dreams. Because, frankly, somewhere down the line, they could have also met. Maybe in another year, maybe in 2 years, maybe in 5 years down the line. But who knows what else they would have had to go through, what other transformation they would have had to experience in order to find themselves together 5 years later. But the fact that they were both working on themselves spiritually, and they were removing the false parts of themselves, they were able to bring themselves together in a higher match. And this is why also it says in the Kabbalistic writings, it says like this, that it's harder for the Creator to match souls together than to split the Red Sea. I know. Don't feel discouraged, right? We can all split the Red Sea. Think about it. Let me just give you a quick thought about that. What makes splitting the Red Sea for us seem so difficult? How many of you ever gone swimming? You ever gone swimming? Anyone ever gone swimming? Nobody? The rest of you don't swim? Okay, you go swimming. So now, when you do like this with the water. What does the water do? Does it split? Yeah, for a second, but fortunately it doesn't split, or you could fall 12 feet if you're in the deep end, right? So we look at it and we say the splitting of the Red Sea, impossible. Because when you do like this with water, it just swirls around, water doesn't split. But how many of you have ever seen a block of ice? Big block of ice, like the old days, right? Big block of ice. What is ice made up of? Water. And if you take an ice pick or you take a hammer and you hit that block of ice, what happens to the water? It splits, right? What's the difference between the swimming pool like this not splitting and the block of ice splitting? It's still water. What's the difference? What we've done to the water. We've used energy to make the water solid, and then we can split it. So Kabbalistically, it's the same idea. And that's why it says it's harder for the Creator to match souls than to split the Red Sea. Because to split the Red Sea, like we do every week, frankly, Moses used the 72 names of God to split the Red Sea. Like we use one every week for our meditation, Moses knew how to use all 72. If you want to look at it that way, freeze the water, split it, everybody walk through, then he uses 72 names to heat it back up and make it water again, or liquid. Not a big deal in our terms. He was just able to do it on a mass level without a freezer. But it's still the same idea, power of energy. And so what the lesson for us is, yes, we're going to have to put energy into our spiritual growth, not just into our relationship. That's where we failed sometimes. I'll put energy into the relationship. So what do? I buy them gifts, I take them out, I start telling them nice things, I start to compliment them. Wow, I hate that dress, but it really looks great, honey. Right? And we start to do things like that, thinking it's going to make our relationship better. The one point we're missing is our spiritual transformation. And that's the real lesson. When we will transform ourselves, then as the Kabbalists teach, you can draw your match from across the ocean. So another story. We have a couple in the center. She's Israeli. He's as American as you can get. They both had unsuccessful marriages. They both had children from those unsuccessful marriages. And in their desire to seek the laws of the universe, the spiritual system of creation, they were both attracted to the Kabbalah center. And once again, even when they first came to the center, there wasn't such a immediate, love at first sight. But after some spiritual transformation and going through some difficult challenges, they also were brought together. Love blossomed, and they've had a successful marriage and achieved a lot of things, actually, in helping the center to grow, the two of them together. So it's another example of spiritual transformation. It's not just, I'm going to find somebody who compliments me. It's one of the big mistakes in Kabbalistic understanding of finding a relationship. What do a lot of people say? I have these talents and abilities, and I have these types of characteristics, and I'm going to find someone who compliments me. So think about it. It's very usual. He or she, let's put it this way, one partner loves sports, busy every Sunday, Monday, whatever, watching sports. The other one doesn't like sports, but likes to go, painting or go out to the beach or something else. And they both are happy with the others doing whatever. So they complement each other, right? The one can sit and watch sports peacefully and enjoy without worrying that the other one's being resentful. The other one's at the beach doing whatever they're doing or painting or whatever it may be, realizing the other one's also not resentful. So they make a perfect match, no? Seems that way. But the problem is, what happens when that runs out? What happens beyond that? Like we're talking on a spiritual level. Where's the spiritual match, the spiritual likeness between them that will glue the relationship together? It's not. But at least for a while it looks great. Because this one's always doing their sports. Sure, I'm sure they go out, they go to dinner, they do other things, they raise their kids if they have them, or they deal with their friends. But there's still that idea of complementing rather than being two united whole people. Or then there's also the other side of it, where they both like everything. So they both like sports, and they both like to go to the beach, and then they both like going gardening, and they both like painting, and they don't like everything. Same thing. It's wonderful for a while. But at some point that wears out, because that's only based on the physical universe, on the material, what we call the 1%. And any relationship, and again, even beyond that personal relationship, friendships or business relationships that are based only on the 1%, on the physical material aspects of it, will never last. Because the physical material doesn't last, does it? Your clothes wear out? Yes or yes? Unless you don't wear them. Then the moths get them, right? Your car wears out? You get the idea. Everything in the physical material world will wear out at some point. So too will those ideas. If we both like sports or we like opposite things, and it's okay. Those will also wear out. But the light of our soul, the light of the Creator, the endless light, will never wear out. And that's why, as the patriarchs and matriarchs, they were matched together and stayed together and changed the world, because they were matching on the soul level and they were expressing their soul's light. Just to give you another idea, the Bible says about Isaac and Rebekah, which again is a wake-up call for us. It says like this: he saw her, he married her, and then he loved her. Told you the Bible's wrong. Because what do? We see, we love, and then we commit together. Right? Okay, well, what's the divorce rate? 5%? 3%? 10%? So we must be doing something wrong. Right? Again, doesn't mean we're wrong people or bad people, but we're just not understanding the system. And that's why we're here to learn the system. First comes the awareness that we want to be together. Then comes committing to work together, which is what marriage represents when it says, and then they married. Love is true unity. You can't be united until after you've been brought together. Until there's some form of a commitment. Because if you take two pieces of paper and you just hold them together like this, will they stay together? If you hold them together. As long as you hold them together, they will stay together. But if they're not glued together, then the moment you let go, what's going to happen? They will drift apart. Spirituality, the light of the Creator, is the only glue that will make our relationships truly fulfilling and truly lasting. And that's the power of the Kabbalah Center, is to teach us how we can transform ourselves, how we can go through the tough times as well as the good times and have spiritual transformation through them. So that at the end of those experiences, you and I are expressing a higher level of our soul, and therefore we can attract a higher level of fulfillment, of revelation of that light of the Creator, of the blessings that are already set out for us. We are the ones in charge of that. We are the ones who are capable to draw whatever our soul match is from across that metaphorical ocean. We are the ones. This last May, when I was in Israel with the tour that we had here from the Boca Center, there was a wedding. I mean, just imagine how far, and I know most of you are relatively new. I've been at this almost 30 years. So what it was like 30 years ago and what we're seeing today is incredible and miraculous. We had a wedding of a New York Christian woman with an Indian Hindu man. Were brought together by the Kabbalah Center. It was miraculous to see and heartwarming to feel, because this is what the center is doing around the world, is teaching people how they can attract. I mean, think of the burden that's taken from you when you realize you do your work here, like let's say she did. She did her spiritual transformation in New York without thinking of how is she going to create the result of finding her match. That we leave up to the Creator. Because in the end of the day, what's our greatest soul match? Is between us and the Creator. The Creator's our greatest soulmate, is it not? Because the Creator, the light of the Creator, is the essence of our soul. So that's where we've got to start. So she by doing her transformation in New York, he by doing his transformation in India, studying Kabbalah in India, were somehow coincidentally brought together in one space at one time. And then basically, he saw her, he married her, and he loved her. After the union comes the true unity. And that's why it must be based on the light of the Creator that's in our souls, not on anything just in the external material. And so we've got to think about, and I want to conclude with that, the Creator gave us the power of itself. The Creator gave us the ability to create. The beauty is all we have to do is create the mold. It's not up to us to fill the mold. That's the Creator's job. It's up to us to create a mold of what we're looking for. The problem is we all feel that in our soul. So most of us, for most of our life, we've been creating the wrong molds. And then we're shocked when we get something in our life that we didn't want. And we have to now, with the Kabbalistic teachings, look back and say, well, wait a second, if I'm honest with myself and objective, that's the mold I created. So the Creator just filled it up. Think if you go to a jeweler. You go to a jeweler and you want the jeweler to make a ring. So you've got the mold, what ring you want, but when you're supplying the jeweler with material, you give them lead. So what kind of ring can they make you if you give them lead? Lead. So now they present you with your lead ring and you're looking, you say, wait, this isn't gold. I gave you the mold and I gave you the material. I wanted a gold ring. What's the jeweler going to say? Well, but you gave me lead. I can only create with what you gave me. So too, the Creator of the universe can only create with the material we give it. So if we give it true soul's love, kindness, compassion, if we give it the mold of what we're looking for. So you can't say, all my relationships have been bad, they have no compassion, no care, they're always jealous, they're mean, they're this and this and this. So now I want to receive the opposite. I want someone who's kind and good and loving and will do whatever I want. Well, you've got to give the universe the same material. So you have to be the person that you want in the relationship. You have to be the friend of the type of friend that you want. You have to be in work what you want to be able to receive from work. You have to create the mold, because like will and does exactly attract like. So whatever you want to create, it's in your hands. Take the burden off of filling the mold and use that same energy that you wasted with trying to create the result. Use that energy to create the mold. You're looking for love, then you have to be loving. You're looking for the match of your soul, then you need to express more of the match of your soul. The beauty is the Creator gave each and every one of us the power and the capability to do it. All we have to do, like we affirm, consciousness is everything. We have to set our consciousness, and then we have to do the actions that will make the mold, that will allow the Creator to bring us all the blessings that we would like to have. God bless. I want to take a few extra minutes. I have a very powerful video that I wanted to show you. Those of you who've been with us for a while, you know that this is the time we bless our offering, that which you want to share with the center. But I want to show you, it's a video of some of the projects of the center, just that you'll get an idea of what it is that we do around the world and what you're supporting.